welcome to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's one is for kit number 43 and it is called Just for Blue because it has a fantastic blue, turquoise, silver kind of colour scheme to it. The actual die set is called Just for You Deco Frames and Corner, and the stamp set is called Made with Love Deco Corners. I think they're usually the same name, but I thought I'd just mention the names because they seem to be different this month. So let's get on with the unboxing of the video. When they sent me the kit, they didn't have the small versions to send me, so I have actually found different pots and decanted the items into smaller bottles and pots so that I can show you the exact size that you're getting. And I also have an alternative colour of confetti, but I'll mention that when I get to it as well. So as always, I like to start with the Nuvo products. So we have a full-size Nuvo Dream Drop, which is the Frosted Lake colour. I think this was the colour that came out with the White Wonderland colour trend, but it is a stunning blue that on black, I think it kind of gives a pinky sheen of mica. If I actually test it onto my glass cutting mat here, I don't know if you can see from that far away, or maybe you can't. If I zoom you in and then do it again here, can you see that that's got pink mica when you put it on a black surface, but it's actually a blue colour. So I've done a whole video on Dream Drops. There might even be two videos. I think I might have done an up close one and a techniques based video as well. But they show you tons of different techniques of how you can use your Dream Drops for different applications and to create backgrounds or focal elements and stuff. And it also shows you how they differ on black and white card. I haven't got this drop in that video because I filmed that for the original colours, but it will give you loads of different techniques and ideas of how to use your Dream Drops. And in my sped up video for this month, I actually used the Dream Drops and the sparkle spray to create some cool backgrounds in a technique that I've never shown on video before. So that will hopefully give you an extra idea for using your Dream Drops onto a background as well, because they're kind of different to a gloss Dream Drop. For one, you get them in a slightly bigger bottle. They're actually 40 millilitres rather than 30 millilitres because there are just so many applications that you can do with the Dream Drop that you can do with the other types of Nuvo drops. However, they tend to work better with a Dream Drop because I think they're more malleable when they're dried. I mean, obviously they're solid once they've dried, but you can actually sort of bend it more without it breaking. They've got that plasticity to them, so that's why you get them in a larger bottle. And they also have that duo kind of use where you can put them on black and white and you'll get a different kind of effect from them. One thing that I like to do with Nuvo drops or Dream Drops as well, I don't tend to use that much black card when I'm working. Whenever I do something and I've put a piece of black card on it, I'm just it just doesn't work for how my brain sees a nice card to be. But if you want the colour that a Dream Drop will give on black card, for example, say you were just adding a scattering of dots across the card, or you could have been colouring an image in, you can add black dots with an alcohol pen of circles across your card and then do your Nuvo Drops on top of them, and then you will get the other colour of the interferency mica stuff that's inside the Dream Drop. Or if you're painting with your Dream Drops, because you can do that as well, you can water them down a little bit using with a paintbrush. If you're painting with them, you can actually colour part of the stamped image in. Wherever you want it to appear pink, you can colour that part in with a black pen first and then paint over it with your Dream Drops, and then you'll get that beautiful pink tone that's in there as well. I don't know if you can really see it from the bottle. I feel like I can see it in person, that there's yeah, you can see it over here, there's a pink tinge to it, but if it's on white card, you just see exactly what you see in the bottle there. So I really love the versatility of a Dream Drop. So firstly, that is the full-size bottle of a Dream Drop that you're getting in the... So the next Nuvo product in the kit is another full-sized one, and this is the Arctic Blast Nuvo Glitter Marker. We often get Nuvo glitter markers in the craft kits because they're such a versatile product that you can use them to stamp with, create backgrounds, splatter with, watercolour with. You can water them down to get a less glittery look and intense colour. So many different techniques you can do with them. I often show all the different techniques in some of my craft kit videos, so you might have seen them in the past, and I also have shown you quite a few times how to activate your Nuvo glitter marker. So I have got one that is already activated, and basically when you get a Nuvo glitter marker, this nib on it will just be a kind of creamy colour, and you haven't got a faulty pen, that's just how they come, and all of the ink is actually is liquid inside the barrel. You can actually see it. I mean, this is a coloured glittery piece of plastic, but you can actually see the ink moving inside if you have it in person. And so the way to activate one of these is you basically take the lid off the pen, press it down onto your glass cutting mat, just perpendicular to it, just once or twice will do to begin with, put the lid back on, shake it, and then when you take the lid off again, you should notice some of the ink starting to wick into the nib of the pen. If you don't, you can repeat that step of pressing it on your glass cutting mat and then putting the lid back on and shaking again. And then you can just put the lid back on and shake until it's completely covered with the gorgeous sparkly ink on there. And I've got a little swatch drawn out already of what the glitter marker actually looks like, and this is that gorgeous Arctic Blast colour. And on this end of it, I have just taken a water brush and dragged some of the colour out, so it just shows how you can get a less intense colour with a less intense shimmer if you use water with it, and this can be in lots of different applications. You can see there how the original lines that I drew down haven't actually disappeared, so if you want that seamless look for colouring an image or creating like watercoloured stripes across a background or something, you might want to press your pen or scribble your pen onto your glass mat and then pick it up with your water brush and paint with it that way. That's a brilliant way of getting that gorgeous watercoloured sort of look without having the harsh lines where the pen instantly touched the paper. But if you want a really, really intense glittery look, you can just go straight on with the glitter marker as well. And it's great for doing little doodles and things, or edging your card actually is a really great technique for a glitter marker. I could quickly just show you that on here. So basically when you want to edge something, you just want to press the nib of the pen up against the cardstock and then just run it along. You might have to practice at this for a little bit. I wouldn't do it straight away onto something that you really love, but you can then get that like gorgeous little edge on your card as well, which kind of gives that sort of faux matte and layer, which is really lovely. So I thought I'd show you that as well. Then the next Nuvo product in the kit, let's show you the tweezers, because this is like an actual sort of tool product that you're getting in the kit. So this is the Nuvo Tweezers, and these are different to the tweezers that just launched separately. So I've got my other tweezers here just to show you. So the oops, dropped my glitter marker. So these are the Tonic tweezers that recently came out. They're fine tip, they're bypass craft tweezers, which means that they go the opposite way. So when you pinch them, they open, rather than when you pinch them, they close. So these ones are available on the website. I think they're $4.99, but the ones that we're getting in the kit are different to them. So these are the other way around of the tweezers. If you have been collecting the kits for a while, you might have already had a pair of these. We had one, I cannot remember the kit number, but it was quite a while ago now. But so these are the opposite way around. So if you you know, if you're interested in getting the reverse kind of tweezers, you can actually buy those ones off of the website as well. But the ones you're getting in the kit are these Nuvo ones, and I think you can see that quite nicely. They've actually got a large area that grips, which is really nice, because sometimes you want more of a stronger grip on your piece of card or your project, or you want to hold it whilst you're heat embossing something like a small sentiment, and you can't really hold the strip without burning your fingers. But you've got possibly like 4mm maybe? Oh no, it's only 2mm. Yeah, it's only 2mm, sorry. I thought it was about 4, it's because it's so close on the camera. But there's about 2mm of grip just there, so that you can get a really nice sturdy grip on whatever you're holding, but it's also not too much of a grip that you're gonna like mess up embossing on your cardstock or anything. So those are the little tweezers that we're getting in the kit, which are the little Nuvo ones, which you can't buy individually, but I will also link the Tonic tweezers down below in case you're after the kind of reverse tweezers that it's when you pinch them together they open, rather than when you pinch them together they close like the Nuvo ones. So I will link those as well, so you've got that option if you want to get those as well. So the next Nuvo product we're getting is a little mini pot of their gorgeous Nuvo Gilding Flakes, and this is the Silver Bullion colour. They have 3 different colours of Gilding Flakes in the range. There's a Radiant Gold, Copper, I'm not 100% sure what the name of the copper one is, and then there's also the Silver Bullion. So you get a small little pot of these. I didn't have the real small pot, so this is one of my gold ones that I emptied out and put silver ones in, but you get loads in one of these little pots, and they go a long way for lots of different projects, and you can use them in quite a few different ways. I've actually used them straight onto double-sided adhesive sheets on some of the cards that I'll show you, and you can also press them into Nuvo expanding mousse before you heat it and get a cool different look that way. If you like other kind of mixed media-y sort of projects, you can actually put these into your ultra thick embossing powders that you might melt down. You can put some flakes into that, and I recently discovered a few months back that you can actually put them onto your jelly plate as well and pick them up with a print, and you can have like gorgeous little flecks of metallic colours sort of embedded in the layers of paint on a jelly print as well. So you can do that kind of thing with them too. So lots of different ways of using Gilding Flakes, and I love having the solid colours because sometimes if you want to do a sentiment and, you know, like stamp it and heat emboss it with one of those sticky embossing powders, or stamping it with one of those sticky glues that stays tacky when it's dry, having a solid colour really makes the writing legible. I mean, for patterns and like picking up the detail on an embossing folder and stuff, the multicoloured ones are brilliant because they give such a cool, fun, random look, but it's quite nice to have solid colours of them, especially for like sentiments and things, or if you're trying to do more of like a clean and simple sort of look. It kind of emulates the look of a mirror card, but it's got that slight matte sort of finish to it with the flakes as well. So those are the Gilding Flakes. Then the next Nuvo product is a mini pot of the Grey Matter Nuvo Expanding Mousse. Again, I didn't have a real mini one to show you, so I emptied out a mini pot and filled it full of mousse so I can show you the exact size that you will be getting. So it's a lovely little sample pot of an expanding mousse, and if you haven't seen the Nuvo expanding mousses before, I did do a whole video on them giving you loads of different ideas, showing you a few samples of how I'd used them. This was quite a while ago now, but I'm pretty sure I packed a few ideas into there. But I've used it a couple of times in some of the samples that I'll show you at the end of the video. One of the cards that I've used it on is actually going to be a photographic step-by-step over on the Tonic blog, and that's showing you how I put expanding mousse over the top of a die cut, and then I expand it, and then I put another die cut over the top. It gives a really cool effect, and I'll show you in the cards at the end. And then I've also done another card showing you how you can squish some of the confetti and the Gilding Flakes into it and then expand it for another different kind of look. I just wanted to show you what it looked like through a stencil as well. So this is the little pot that you will be getting with the gorgeous expanding mousse. Obviously I've been using a lot of mine, but it will go a nice long way. I did actually do quite a big background piece with this little pot. So that is the Grey Matter expanding mousse. Then the next small product is a sparkle spray. Please excuse the green up here. This was originally a green sparkle spray which I emptied out and then put the actual colour in that we're getting. So the colour we're getting is called Marine Mist, which is one of the original colours of the Nuvo sparkle sprays. So you're getting a little small sample of 5ml, but when I was cleaning this bottle out, I wanted to do an experiment to see and to be able to tell you there are 30 full sprays in this tiny little bottle. So you really can make this go a long way. I filled it up with water as I was cleaning it, and I stood there by the sink, and I got 30 full sprays out of this bottle. There was even still a little bit left at the end, but I wanted to tell you exactly like how packed full of product this tiny little spray is. So if you really want to, I mean, it's basically a great little sample. So if you've never tried a sparkle spray before, 30 sprays of a product is pretty decent for a sample, because it'll give you lots of scope for doing different kinds of techniques, spraying onto a background, using them with shaving foam through stencils just to create a really simple splatty background. You can also take the top off of it and just tap it with the uptake tube to get a splattery effect as well. And I have actually recently filmed one of my up close videos for sparkle spray, showing you lots of different techniques. I haven't edited it yet, but hopefully it won't be too long before I can get that edited, and then that'll give you some ideas of how to use your sparkle sprays as well. But in my sped up video for this kit, I actually sprayed the sparkle spray and squeezed out some dream drops onto my easy clean mat and was pressing the card into it, and that gives a really cool look as well. So you'll see that in my sped up video. But that is the little marine mist sparkle spray that we're getting in this kit too. And then the final Nuvo for the kit is not Bluebell Heart. It is actually, it's going to be a full-sized bottle like this, so a 35ml bottle of heart confetti, but I don't have the exact colour. But the hearts are these beautiful kind of hearts. I think the colour that you're getting has that kind of AB finish, but it's going to be more of a turquoisey kind of colour, similar to the Mermaid Parade, like with the stars and the glitter from Mermaid Parade, but it's going to be called Azure Hearts. So if I do actually get sent the pot before I've edited this video, I'll add a clip in after I've spoken about these to show you the proper colour that you're getting. But this is the shape of confetti basically. It's just slightly different colour. It'll just be more of a turquoise than a deep blue. So it'll go better with the kit basically. I have used this on one of my projects, so just imagine it's a slightly more turquoisey kind of a colour, and it would go much better with the design that I've done. But I love the heart confetti. Hearts and circles are my favourite of the confetti that Tonic do. Really, really love them. And these pots go a really long way as well. I mean, I don't tend to put too much confetti in my shakers because I like the look of it moving around more and just being a sort of accent going across whatever's in the background. So if you're frugal with your addition of confetti to your shakers, these are going to last a really long time, which is brilliant. So that is all of the Nuvo from this month's kit, and then I'll show you the papers next. So we've got 8 A4 sheets of cardstock in this month's kit. So the first one here is the absolutely stunning Tidal Wave Iridescent mirror card. I love the Iridescent mirror card so much. They recently had an offer on it on one of the, I don't know if it was a Wednesday deal or whether it was a weekender bundle, but I got 2 more sets of all 9 of the colours of it because I love it so much. It's just so beautiful. This one doesn't actually look too rainbow on camera. It does actually show the gorgeous bluey green tones of it. Some of them really show up as rainbow on the camera, but it's pretty much showing actually the kind of colour, although it's more of a solid colour when you see it in person. It's just the way the light's reflecting. And I'm also wearing a yellow hoodie, which is probably not helping with that green colour. But anyway, this is the Tidal Wave Iridescent cardstock, which is a gorgeous mirror card. Then this one is one of their embossed luxury cardstock, which came out in the Tropical Paradise colour trend, and this one is the Jungle Fever. I really like this one as well. It's kind of got, it's sort of like a dotty textured background, and then it's got beautiful etched kind of leaves all over it with gorgeous curly vines on there as well. It is really lovely. It's very subtle. It's kind of like the kind of thing that you would put on a card and then the recipient would be like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time, you know, and they'll just see that gorgeous pattern in there peering out of it. It's a really lovely colour, and I think it goes really lovely with this month's kit actually. It gives that nice sort of depth of colour, which is really lovely. So that is the Jungle Fever. Then we've got one of their high gloss mirror cards. So this is the Silver Chrome high gloss mirror card. Really lovely. A silver mirror card is always useful. We can almost see 3 cameras there. It's reflecting weirdly. But yeah, their mirror card, especially the high gloss ones, are superb. You can see it's basically giving you like a whole mirror of my camera and the ceiling light up there as well. So really, really lovely, the silver chrome. Then the next one is a beautiful glitter cardstock. This is their gorgeous glitter card that hardly has any shed at all. I don't think you can even see any specks of glitter on there, but it die cuts perfectly. It's a really amazing kind of card. The fact that you can die cut some really detailed, intricate dies from it. The bits fall away really lovely, but also the glitter doesn't come off. So it's a win-win kind of cardstock, this one, they're glitter ones. And this one is called Turquoise Lake. Again, I can't 100% remember the colour trend, but this, it might have been Tropical Paradise, or it could have been Merry and Bright, perhaps, from the previous year. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a beautiful turquoise glitter card. Then, the next one, I realise I usually show you these with these kind of ones first, but anyway, I've shown you them in a different order this month. This is the Ocean Blue Classic Cardstock, which has got the gorgeous linen texture on one side, and then it is smooth on the other side. And then this one is the Misty Grey Classic Cardstock. This one was from the White Wonderland colour trend. I remember this one being in there. And again, it's smooth on the back. And then we have a Speciality cotton paper, and this one is called Arctic Ice. And I love this one too. It really does look like tiny little ice cubes floating. It's really, really lovely. I love the scale of this one, because it is such a small little design. I mean, those squares, I think those squares are about 2mm, you know, 2mm square, all the little squares that are on there. So having it in such a small scale really looks brilliant on smaller cards as well, because you can actually see the whole sort of pattern that's going on there. I know it's a sort of overall pattern, but it's quite nice to have different scales of patterns going on. I mean, mixing this with the Jungle Fever as well, that's quite a large kind of repeating pattern all over it, and this is a gorgeous small one, so they'll sort of set each other off quite nicely. And then the final piece of card is the Lunar Silver Pearlescent card, and this is double-sided. So I've said this quite a lot, that double-sided pearlescent card is really great for 3D kind of projects where you might be able to see the other side of it. It just gives a really lovely look, and my camera's gone really blurry. So that is all 8 sheets of the cardstock. And now what you've all been waiting for, the actual dies and stamps from this month's kit. So I've also got the sticker this month. It says sending love and thanks, and it's got little hearts all over it, really, really pretty. And then we've got the stamp set and the die set. So the die set is called Just For You Deco Frames and Corner, and the stamp set is called Made With Love Deco Corners. So let me get a piece of card. I'll just show you on the back of here. So we've got some beautiful large sentiments on the stamp set, and then you've got 4 corners to go with one of the corner dies in the die set. I didn't actually use the corners. I think I used everything else. I didn't actually use the corners, but they're perfect for stamping onto the die cuts that you've got for the corners as well. So the first one, we've got For Someone Special, and we've got these gorgeous little hearts on there which stamp solidly, but I was actually, I'll show you on the card, I was scribbling a little bit of the glitter marker onto my glass cutting mat, took a tiny fine paintbrush and actually painted them in, so they matched with the glittery kind of feel for the rest of the card as well. Special Wishes, I really like that one. Really, really lovely. Fine, very handwritten looking font. Then you've got Sending Love and Thanks, which is a similar font to Special Wishes but in a smaller scale. And then we've got Thinking of You as well. I really like the addition of those little straight lines. I often do that when I've stamped a sentiment. I add like little straight lines and stuff on it. I really like the look of that. It looks really good. Then we've also got an oval sentiment which says Made With Love, and this fits in one of the dies from the die set as well. And you also have die cut sentiments in a similar vein to this too. I actually used this stamp to stamp with the Dream Drops for one of my cards, because I mentioned it in a video the other day that you can stamp with Dream Drops. And then someone commented and asked, how do you stamp with Dream Drops? So I thought I would do it again in a sped up video to be able to show you. So really great for doing those kind of techniques with, but also just a lovely sentiment as well. And then you've also got 4 corners, and you might think, why have you got 2 of the same and 2 of the same? But it's because the way the design is for the main die, you actually want the handedness of the design to be able to go round the whole framed sort of image. So if I show you how the dies actually coordinate with these, you'll kind of see what I mean, I think. So we've got the oval one that goes perfectly with that stamped sentiment, and again, it's a really lovely die. Like I keep saying with the stamp clubs, you can see the whole design inside the die, so you know you're going to get it to die cut out perfectly, which is brilliant. And then with the corners, I actually thought originally that these two layered on top of each other, you know, I thought this one was slightly smaller when it cut out, but they are actually the same size, just one gives you the dots around the edge and one gives you the plain edge of them as well, and they are different. So 2 of them are the same and 2 of them are different. If you have a look at these two are the same, so they're the same die, but you can pick from straight edge or straight edge with the piercing around it. And then you also have this version of the die, which is the mirror image. You see, it would be like that, so it's the mirror image of it. You can see it's got a fatter piece down here and a thinner piece at the top, and this is so that they nestle really nicely around the design. So you basically would cut 2 of them like that for the top 2 corners, and then you would take both of them and cut the 2 of them like that for the bottom 2 corners, and so you then have the matching stamps to go with that, because the scallopy kind of design is slightly different from this different sort of scallopy design on here. I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, you can see there they don't match. So this is why you have to have both kind of handedness of them, because the scallops don't actually match with the way that the outside of the main die design is. They are different, so that's why you have the 2 different ones, and then one of each of these will match with the stamp. So that one matches there, and then this one would match here, or they also match on these ones as well. So that one you can actually, yeah, you could use that one with the plain one, and you could actually stamp that dot detail onto it. So the way that one actually works, obviously you would use it that way around, but I want to be able to show you the cutting edge. You can see how the little dots would fit inside there really nicely, and you could either stamp them first and then die cut, or die cut them then stamp. I think either way would work well with these kind of corners. And then this one, you would just about see that black line underneath the dotty detail on this one, I think, if you die cut it. Or if I show you with this one, you've got more metal, more open space, sorry, because you haven't got the dots on it, so you can actually see the whole of the black outline on there. So you can mix and match those to give different kind of effects as well. And one of my cards, actually, I show you a kind of wacky use for the corners, because obviously I can't just show you how to use a corner as a corner. We've got to use them for some kind of weird way to make a card as well. So those are the actual corners that go on these, and when you're putting them on, the skinny edge here, so you can see it's fatter on one end and skinnier on the other end. The skinny end goes to the like when it's in portrait mode there at the top. I think that makes sense, because you can see how they sort of nestle nicely around there. So the way round that you know that the corners are going to go is that the skinny bit of the corner is going to be near the shorter edge of the oval. I hope that makes sense. So for the rest of the die set, the main component of the die set is this beautiful large nesting shape. Really, it is actually symmetrical down here, so you can fold it that way, but it's also symmetrical along the long length of it as well, so you can also fold it down this way. So you can create maybe pockets. Actually, in a memory book you could fold it in half and have it as like a little pocket, or fold it this way and have it as a longer pocket going across a memory page. You can cut it in half and have it as a border, like a large kind of border on a 5x7 card, or I've actually used it cut in half this way onto a smaller A2, A6 kind of size of card as well. And they've given you lots of different options and ways that you can use this. So instead of just then giving you a decorative piece that fills in there, they've actually given it to you in 2 halves. So you then get 2 different designs, which you can either do creative kind of things with it and just cut half of it and give yourself a different kind of look just with half of this decorative piece cut, or you can cut it once and then you take the die and tape it down and cut it again the second time, and you get the completed design all the way around. But then you also have this option too, so you could again cut both together but cut the 2 different ones together to give an arty kind of a look because you've got the difference on either side, or you can cut this one once and then flip it round and cut it again to get a gorgeous swirly frame all the way around. So you've got the option between the swirly design and then also this one, which has gorgeous little straight lines around here that kind of go with the next layer down, and then they also have a heart in the end as well, which I think is really lovely. So you've got 2 different options to give 2 different looks, or just to use half of it, or you can also just cut these into your card and they will just cut out the detail, or you can completely cut it out and have use the outer edge to cut it out. Then the next one down, you get the next, well, an oval basically. This is kind of like a frilly oval, and then you've got an actual oval the next one down, which you could then use in conjunction with the outside edge and create a frame. And then you could either have it as a solid frame, or you can put the detail in, again mixing it around, only doing half of it, or mixing the 2 different designs, or doing the same design on both sides. And then the next one down is actually a complete die, which I really like, because sometimes when you're doing a half die and you want multiple die cuts to be identical, it's difficult to achieve that when you have to then move the die and cut the other half, unless you were using both different designs together. But this one gives you the opportunity to have a layer that is maybe multiple stacked up to do a cool technique with, and this is the layer that I did the expanding mousse, scraping it through the die cut kind of idea, which I'll show you on one of my cards as well. But I really like this kind of design, and it's a very modern stripy design, so then you can take that onto whatever kind of card, and I think this one will be a great starting point for turning this into more of a masculine geometric-y kind of die for a project as well. And then again you also have the next oval down, so then you can either create this as you can use that oval to just be a solid mat in the center and stamp and color an image if you want, or you can use the decorative one with it to give you a solid mat with a decorative edge, or you can use the central one inside it to then give you a skinny frame that you could then put a photograph behind on a scrapbook page. You could mount a coloured image behind there. You could just have one of the Speciality tonic papers behind there. You could make that into a shaker card. There are so many different options, having the outside edges separate from the cutting detailed edges as well. It just gives you so many more options. And then similarly to the largest shape within this die set, you also have that same possibility for this oval. So you also have this design which emulates this one really nicely, and goes really nicely together because you have the small little heart there, and you've also got kind of like the straight line elements within there, but you also then have a more of a curly flourishy sort of a design that could also be used there, whether you use the 2 together or the same one flipped around again. So lots of options with that. And then you also get the next oval down to go inside that to create a solid mat that you might want to stamp your sentiment onto with any of the sentiments from the kit, or again making it a frame, making it a shaker, any kind of different technique you want to do that I was explaining with the previous oval size, you can do again with this oval size. And then that final oval that we have in that centerpiece, I was showing you before, it fits that one perfectly, but you might not want to do a portrait card, so it actually fits all of these perfectly for a landscape card as well. So you've got an option to stamp your sentiment for a landscape card, stamp your sentiment for a portrait card, or you also have 3 options for die cutting your sentiment for a portrait card as well. I mean, obviously you can use it for a landscape card, but I mean like a portrait style sentiment because they're all stacked on top of each other. But this one says just for you, which I've definitely used on one of my projects. And then we also have this one that says, oh, with lots of love. So it goes with lots of love. And then this one, which I did actually use as well, which says from me to you. So some really sort of generic, nice little sentiments in there as well, which I think are really lovely. And then with the corners that I was explaining before about how you have the two different handedness of them, so you have the opposite designs in both the pierced ones and the straight edge ones. You also have the sort of like the die versions of the stamped patterns. Yeah, they pretty much are the die version of the stamp pattern. So this one is actually like the sunburst stripy design on there, and then this one has got more of like a filigree sort of intricate swirly kind of design, which goes really nicely with this kind of half of the oval design as well, or this half of the oval design too. So loads of different ways of mixing and matching these dies to give you different kind of card ideas. So I'll be back in a minute to show you the 7 different samples that I've done with them. So the first card here is the one that I showed you how to make in my photographic step by step, which will be on the Tonic blog, and this is the technique with the expanding mousse. And basically the way that you do it is you take this die cut. I mean, you have to use a die that you know you can get an identical die cut again from. So basically you want to take the this straight-edged oval, the intricate pattern in the centre, and the next straight-edged oval, and you want to tape them together so that you can cut at least 2 of them to be identical, and then you want to carefully pull the middle detailed die out of that and cut another one just to be a solid piece to back this if you want to do this kind of floating sort of frame idea. Then you take one of the intricate ones and you stick it to the back piece. You can do it with 2 as well if you wanted to make it thicker and have a puffier effect with the mousse, but in the step by step I did just show you sticking one of them on. And then all you do is you take your expanding mousse and a palette knife. I do kind of recommend one that's got more of a point on the end of it so that you can actually get it into all like the little fine details, and you basically just scrape the mousse all the way around, kind of like you were putting it through a stencil, but we're not going to remove the die cut afterwards. So you kind of want to take all of the excess off the top of the die cut like you would if you were using a stencil, but making sure it gets into all of the areas of the design. And then once you've done that, you heat it to give the gorgeous puffy expanded kind of look, and then obviously it's going to look a little bit of a mess because you've got the grey sort of scraped around the rest of the design. So to cover that, you then just put another die cut over the top, and then that kind of makes it flush again because the mousse will have puffed up, but then by adding another die cut over the top you're kind of equaling the height of the puffed up mousse, so it just gives a really cool effect. I did this the first time when the Nuvo Mousse released, and I did it with the green colour on, I think it was called the Baroque Square layering dies or something like that, and it looked really, really good. So that video I was telling you about earlier, the up close one that I did with the expanding mousses, I showed you that in that video, and I also did a sped up video for that as well, which I'm pretty sure is up already. But I just love that kind of technique. I haven't done it in a while, and I thought I might as well show you now we had an expanding mousse in the kit. So I thought that looked really lovely, and I thought I'd do this one for the step by step because it shows you in detail how to create that kind of effect. And also I sort of showed how I do the stripy pieces across the background, and for this one, instead of just doing some stripes of the gorgeous cardstock, which is actually the same card I used for the focal piece so it all ties together, I showed you how you can use your glitter marker to sort of add in some extra details. You could have done stripes of glitter marker if you wanted to, but I thought little dots would be quite a nice different sort of effect, and it goes nicely with using little Nuvo drops on there as well, so using the little dream drops on there. And for the sentiment, instead of adding the sentiment to the oval and putting it in the centre, which again would make a really lovely looking card, I just wanted to show you a different way of adding your sentiment so you didn't think that you had to stamp them in the oval and add them like inside that one. So I just cut it with scissors to do the flagtail banner, and the way I recommend doing this is For the long edges, use some long bladed scissors. So the Tim Holtz shears are perfect for this, because you can actually, if you're keeping your hand steady and straight, you can get a nice straight line on there without having to use a guillotine, or you can use a guillotine or a paper trimmer if you'd rather. And then for the point of the banner, you just want to eyeball sort of where you want the ends of your point to be and how far in you want this sort of bit to be. And you basically chop it off there, and then you chop in how far you want the points to come in, and then you just chop like this from the outside edge to that point that you chop down to, and you get the perfect little flagtail banner. And then to get the little skinny mat to make it fit on, which I just did with mirror card so it's nice and shiny, I just stick that white banner onto the mirror card and then trim around it, again using the long bladed pair of scissors to do the side pieces, and shorter, more detailed scissors to cut the little flagtail piece out. And that's how I get my little banners to be really nice on there. And I also stamped all the sentiments on the cards in grey ink this time. I do usually use black, but because grey was one of the colours of the kit, I thought it would look really nice to have that grey kind of tone in there. And to match the mirror card around the sentiment, I also just cut this little decorative portion of the die into a piece of silver mirror card so that I could place that little heart back in, which I think looks really lovely. So that's the photographic step-by-step card. The next 3 cards are the ones that are in my sped up video. So these 3 are all in the sped up video. I was trying to put more of like a modern spin on the die set. I'll show you one of the cards that I've done, which is basically using the dies, you know, like as they're intended, as like the mat and layers that you can put on top of each other. But I wanted to also give you some more kind of modern ways of using this kind of a die set. Maybe after you've got fed up of using them as just like the normal kind of way to use them. It just gives you a few more ideas of how you might want to use them in your cards. And this was also giving you some techniques with dream drops for creating backgrounds. So this one was stamping with the dream drops. You do want to use a stamping platform, and I was just using a little piece of cut and dry foam, which has got a bit of cardstock to it, to pat my dream drops onto my stamp. And when you've finished with your stamp, I did just clean it with a baby wipe because I was quite quick with doing it, because I've done it quite a few times before. But if you're not as quick at doing it and some of the dream drops have dried on there, just leave it in, leave the stamp in some warm soapy water and then scrub at it with an old toothbrush, and it should come up really nicely. So that's how you clean the dream drops off your stamp. But it gives a really cool effect. It's basically like an embossed resist, but you don't need a clear ink, embossing powder and a heat gun. You're just using dream drops to do it with. And using the stamping platform means that you can stamp it 2 to 3 times to then get a complete impression, because inevitably you'll miss a part of the stamp because you've got to work really quickly. So yeah, doing it 2 or 3 times gives you that perfect impression. And then I did also water down some of the dream drops and splat it in the background as well. So I've kind of got some little resist splatters in the background, and then I just used sparkle spray and watered it down and stuff to get the colour on the background to make the bits and pieces pop. Then the background of this one was the technique I was saying, where I took my white Easy Clean mat, I sprayed on some of the sparkle spray, and then I literally just took the Dream Drops bottle and just went like this, squeezed it and went like this all over the Easy Clean mat, and then I pressed this background into that. And it gave this, it almost looks like rough waves, you know, like the white horses on the sea. It just gives me that kind of a look. Which I really love how this turned out. And because the dream drops kind of act as like a resist, you've kind of got like landlocked areas of the deeper blue of the sparkle spray and stuff, and I think it just gives a really unique kind of background. There's no way you could recreate this. It gives a really different kind of look. And then I squished this next background into the leftovers from this background, but there wasn't that much sort of not cool effects like this going on because a lot of the dream drops had already been taken up onto this card. So instead of taking the Dream Drops and doing this onto the Easy Clean mat and then printing it again, I decided to just use the background where I'd mopped up all the stuff and then take the Dream Drops and do this over the top of the actual background, so that you've then kind of got this sort of, it almost looks like silly string all over it, just in all sorts of weird wiggly areas. I mean, you could have done this more precisely and sort of drawn like hearts on there in the background or swirly designs, but I just thought an all over kind of silly string sort of pattern would look really cool. So that's how I did that background. Then for the die cutting and stuff, I just wanted to show how you don't have to use the whole piece on the card. Even if you're working on a smaller card, you don't have to just stick to using the portrait half or the landscape half of it. You can just have a little piece peeking in from the corner just to give a little bit of extra interest. And then there was more of it hanging off here, so I thought, well, I might as well bring some into the little strip that I've done across with the sentiment as well. I've also made use of one of the fall away hearts from another die cut, and I've also filled in this fall away heart with some Dream Drops as well, and then done a scattering of Dream Drops up the card, so that finished that one off. Then to finish this one off, I wanted to show how you could use those corner pieces for a different kind of design. So this was alternating the two different corner pieces with the stripy design, because remember, you get two different ones because they're the different handedness of them. I kept the same one running down one side and then the same one running down the other side, just so you didn't get a weird look with the scallopy edge that it's giving. I did go off a little bit wonky, so the white area is wider up here than it is down here, but I quite like the look of that. I didn't really mind that. And then this background I just cut into two different panels and stuck over the top of the one that I'd done the die cutting from as well, because I thought trying to die cut through this thick kind of drop would have been pretty difficult to do, and you might not have got a clean finish on there. And then I've just raised this whole panel up and put some of the light misty grey cardstock behind there. And then I have used this main oval design, cut it from that Tidal Wave cardstock, and then I've also matted that onto the light grey cardstock. I also cut the sentiment from white and snipped out the words. Then I've used the Dream Drops around the centre, and you can see because that cardstock is darker than a white card, it's almost showing you a little bit of the pink mica in there as well, just to give you a little different kind of a look. I just realised I smudged that drop down there, so I might add an extra drop on there, but yeah, I think that just gives a really cool funky look to a kind of classic looking die set. You're just using different portions of it to give a funky kind of look. And then this one is the final one from the sped up video, just using half the frame, but I was also showing you how to use the Gilding Flakes on this one as well. So I cut the outside, you know, just the plain edge, and that inside plain edge to get a sort of solid piece to go underneath this. Then I did that again with some double-sided adhesive sheet so that I could stick that over the top. You could have already stuck that to the card and then die cut it, but I didn't think about that at the time. And then I also put those two dies together again, but put that gorgeous half piece of detail in with the little heart that comes out, and I die cut that. And then I took the backing off the double-sided tape, which I'd already stuck to the other piece of card, and then I stuck the intricate one over the top, and then I came in with my Nuvo Gilding Flakes and added it to all of the exposed adhesive. I was using one of these little Nuvo brushes to burnish off the excess, but you can also use Rub It Scrub It, or an old like stippling paintbrush, or maybe one that you accidentally ruined by leaving acrylic paint in overnight. Something that's got sort of stiff bristles like this will work really nicely to burnish off the excess of the Gilding Flakes, and then you can just put the rest back in your pot to use another time. But it just gives a different look. It's not as mirror reflective as mirror card, but it's not as smoothly frosted as a satin mirror card. It kind of gives a completely different sort of look behind there. It almost looks like some kind of glittery sort of a thing, and it's got different flecks in there basically. It depends if a full flake has laid down on there, it'll give more of a foiled look, or if it's little bits of flakes, it gives more of a glittery almost kind of a look. So I do really like Gilding Flakes to give that different effect for a card. And then I have actually stamped onto one of the ovals, but again I wanted to show you a different way that I might have stamped onto an oval, but I don't have to keep the full oval on the card, and I don't have to mount that oval in the middle of the big oval. You know, you can offset things just to give your card a completely different look. I think it gives a really modern look to the card, basically, having that offset kind of design and chopping parts off so they hang off the card. I just really love that background as well with the dream drops on there. It just looks so organic and different, and I think it just gives a really cool look. So I've done that one as well, and then I've just added some extra dream drops on there too. And this is the one where I painted in the little hearts on there as well. So the background, oh yeah, I didn't show you the rest of that little swatch piece. The background is the sparkle spray, and then on top of here I painted with the glitter marker, and I did this little piece which I then forgot to show you. So that was the glitter marker, but I also put a little bit of the sparkle spray out. So they are slightly different colours, which means they'll work really nicely in conjunction with each other. And you can see, if you use them full strength, it's very intense sparkle, but here again I was watering it down, so you can get that more subtle finish by diluting your sparkle spray with water, or by using a water brush with your glitter marker as well. I forgot to show you that earlier. So that is the final card for the sped up video, which should be up tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then I've got 3 more cards to show you. So this one is not really my style. It's kind of more of like the generic Tonic style of showing you all the layers layered up on top of each other. But I wanted to show you one just, you know, just to give you an extra idea. And I've actually made it into a card blank, a shaped card blank. And I've literally just used the gorgeous glitter cardstock with the pearlescent cardstock and the palm tree Jungle Fever cardstock in there as well, and again showing you how you don't have to just put an oval in the centre with the sentiment on. You can just cut a wacky quadrilateral shape around your stamped sentiment and add that onto it as well to give it a slightly more modern edge, I suppose. And then I've just used, in some places I've stuck things flat, I've like inset this oval back into this piece, or I've used a really low profile foam tape to add depth between the different layers to give a different look. And with any of these layers you could add a shaker behind them, you can do that expanding mousse kind of technique, you can, I mean you could have cut the centre out of this grey oval and recessed this one back down into it, rather than doing it more of like a pyramage. You could have done it like invertage and like done it backwards and made this frame the tallest piece on the card as well. So there really are so many different ways of mixing and matching this, but it also gives you a nice little look of both of the intricate outside designs die cut. So that's just the half of that one, and then you can see how you just butt them both up together and you get the whole shape of the single design as well. And it really doesn't look too much like you've done that. I mean, if you wanted to make it even more so it didn't look like it was a half die that you cut twice, this little piece here, you could easily snip this little portion out, and then it would really just look like a continuous symmetrical design that wasn't really two flat dies, sort of flat-ended dies cut together. So, and the same with this piece here, you could easily snip away a little piece of that to give it more of a continuous kind of a look as well. But it looks lovely just doing it like that too. So that is just using it as like a proper shaped card with all the layers. Then this is the one using the expanding mousse, because I wanted to give you a few more ideas with expanding mousse. The stencil isn't in the kit obviously, but I just wanted to show you how you can use it through the stencil. But you could also have cut the piece that's in the glitter card around the edge, you could have cut that out and scraped the expanding mousse through it to give you a kind of stencil-y sort of look. You could even take all of the decorative dies and cut them all inside each other to give you your own kind of decorative doily sort of esque stencil as well to do this kind of technique with. But I wanted to show you how you can press the confetti into the mousse and also the gilding flakes. And remember, imagine that those hearts in there are more of a turquoise colour than a dark blue colour, and it would go much nicer with the whole card. I've also used some of the confetti just individually as well. And then behind this piece, so this is the misty grey cardstock right behind that sentiment, and you can see it's sort of picked up the texture on it, because I just used some of the expanding mousse just like normal embellishment mousse and rubbed it over the Craft Perfect to highlight the texture. So don't think you have to just use expanding mousse as an expanding mousse. It will do exactly the same things that a normal Nuvo embellishment mousse will do as well. So if you don't like this puffy kind of a look that it gives when you heat it, you can just use it flatly as well. You can even use it through a stencil, and as long as you don't apply heat gun heat to it and you just leave it to dry, it would look just like a normal embellishment mousse. But adding the heat gun to it does give this cool puffed up kind of effect, which is really great for lots of mixed media kind of things. It almost looks like stone as well, kind of gives you that little sort of look of stone, which is really nice too. And this is one of the other sentiments on here too, from me to you, just to show you that as well. So that was just a really simple card that I literally just did before I started filming this video. And then this is the final one that I did, just giving you a different use for the corners, which I thought was a really funky kind of design. It wasn't actually my original design. In my head, I had imagined putting one square here, one square slightly further up, and then another square here, and I was going to layer the dark green on top of the silver, because when I looked at the dies, just from the cutting line side, I thought that this dark green one was, because it had the dots on it, I thought it was slightly smaller of a design, like an outside shape, than the silver one, but they're not. They're actually identical shapes. So in my head I was thinking, oh, I'll layer them on top of each other and I'll have that little silver edge coming around the edge. But then because that wasn't working, because both shapes are exactly the same size, it made me think, oh, what else could I do then? Could I use it in a slightly different way to give a different look? And I think this, it's almost optical illusion-y, this one, because you can't quite tell which pieces are stuck on top of what from that kind of distance. But basically I cut 3 of each of the corners. So I cut 3 of the one-handedness of the corner from the silver, and then 3 of the other-handedness of the corner. So this is the straight edge one from silver. And then again I did the same thing with the dark green ones, but using one of the intricate patterns in there as well. And then to get them to sit really nicely on a square like this, you want to cut squares of cardstock, and I used the Ocean Teal and the Tidal Wave iridescent cardstock. I just cut 5 centimetre squares using my guillotine, but if you had a die that was exactly the same size, you could do that as well. And then the 2 squares, or the 2 corners, fit perfectly onto that square. And then because they're kind of scallopy corners that are supposed to go around a puffy oval kind of shape, they give quite a big gap in the middle when you've used the 2 as a square. So I literally just, again, took my guillotine and just cut a sliver off of the 2 different types of card, and then stuck the opposite one diagonally across the square before I stuck the corners on to give this kind of a look. And I just think it looks really cool. And it wasn't even one of the cards that I was planning on making to begin with, but I just think it gives a really lovely look, and it makes it look really funky and modern, but it's actually a very traditional kind of corner shaped die. So I really like how this one turned out. And again, I think masculine cards, I think it would be a really lovely masculine kind of design, whether you stick to these colours from the kit or you pick different colours. I mean, you could have done this intricate design, could have also been from the silver, and then the backing squares could have been from the grey card, and the diagonal stripes could have been from the pearlescent silver card, and you could have done it all in silvery grey tones. Or you could have kept it to more of the blue tones and used the handmade cotton paper as the background behind. You could recreate this one in quite a few different ways, and I mean, it would make it wider than a DL card, but if you put one more set of squares on top of there and maybe move them closer together, you could do this design on a DL card and have 4 by 2, or even just do 4 by 1 column, and I don't know, maybe use another portion of the die to create a scallopy design down one side of a DL card as well. So you could really adapt this kind of cool, almost quilted looking pattern into different sizes of card as well. I mean, just doing that for a square card would look really, really nice too. It would make about a 3.5 or 3 3/4 inch square card, or you could obviously mat and layer it up to be a larger square as well. So I hope you've enjoyed all of these ideas that I've given you for this month's Tonic Craft Kit. And this is the Just for Blue, and you can tell why, because it's got this gorgeous turquoisey, bluey, silvery kind of a colour scheme. Don't forget to look out for the photographic step-by-step over on the Tonic blog for how to do this card with the expanding mousse technique. And then also there'll be a sped up video for these 3 cards up tomorrow. And all of the links for you to be able to buy the Tonic Craft Kit, or I'm going to link the tweezers down there as well, just in case you're interested in these crossover tweezers. I'll put all of the descriptions in, I'll put all of the links in the description below the video, and they are affiliate links as well. So if you do use any of those links, you'll be supporting me by me getting a small commission of the amount that you spent on your order, but it'll be at no extra cost to you. So I really do appreciate everybody who uses my links, and I know a lot of you have started commenting and saying, I just ordered it using your link, and it just puts a smile on my face knowing that you know, like, you appreciate my videos that much that you would want to use my link to buy it as well. So thank you so much to everybody who does do that, and thank you for watching till the end of the video as well, and I will see you again in the next video. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye!